Hello guys, this is Jamie. I want to welcome you to my channel today. I hope everyone is doing well, staying safe. Today I am going to do a review on the Pagos 120 color watercolor dual brush pen set. The company is Pagos and their website is pagosart.com. They sent me these lovely markers or pens for review, and I am going to show them to you guys today. They sent them to me with the colored pencils. The colored pencils I have already done a review for, and you can find that on my channel. So let's get started with this. So if you can tell by the cover here, it just has a picture of them and it says 120 colors. It kind of looks like a briefcase, and there's some snaps on the front. On the top here, there's a little handle for carrying. So if you want to keep them in the case, you could for good storage. The back looks the same as the front. It has their website printed on the bottom. We're going to open this up here with the snaps, and I'm going to pull out the trays. And right away, there is a beautiful assortment of colors that just came out. Very, very excited and pleased with these. There is a total of 5 trays in this set. We have a lot of pinks, gorgeous reds. On the second tray, we have several oranges and some beautiful skin tones, and a couple blues, like a purpley blue and a different color of blue. Next tray, we have blues and a couple more purpley type colors and some greens. Next one has the rest of the greens and the yellows and some more like neutral earthy skin tone type colors. And then the final tray, we have our grays, our blacks, and some pretty pastel shades right here, and our browns. And it looks like there is a silver. I did not see a gold. Let me just double check here. Yeah, I don't think it comes with the gold, but that's okay. Silver is wonderful, and they're water brush pens, so we'll see how that silver will perform. So I've just stacked these all up, and we're going to kind of take a look at one of these just to see what we think. So I've pulled it out here. Right away, I absolutely love that the whole barrel is a solid color. That way, if you take off the lids and you set them on the desk or whatever, you know what lid goes to what pen, especially if you are coloring with like a bunch of different pinks or similar colors, you don't get them confused. So you know what color you're actually pulling, even if you put the wrong cap on it. The next thing I notice is that it indicates your brush and your fine nib on the pen. It says Pagos Duel brush pens on it. The one side, the brush side is a round, and the fine is a triangular barrel. So one side is triangular, and then the other side is kind of a round side of a barrel. And the brush tip is fairly soft. It's not stiff, but it's not extremely squishy either. So that is good. Very durable, probably will last a long time. And the only drawback that I've noticed here is there is no color names or color numbers on these. So if you are the type of person that would like to swatch out your pens or markers or anything like that, you might want to put a piece of tape or something around here and label it with a number. And if you are the type of person that just kind of just pulls colors as you go, then no worries, you're just fine. These will be perfect for you. And yeah, you'll be all set. So let's play with these a little bit and see what we think with a little bit of color playtime, shall we? I am going to pull a book and we'll see what we can do with these. I have a book that I like to use for my testing books. This book right here that I am flipping through is a color and frame book. Just picking a pattern or a page that would be a good tester page. Yeah, I think this one is a good one. So it's the Color and Frame Patchwork book if you are interested in what book I am coloring in. It is spiral bound and they are perforated edges. I really like these books for testing new media because the paper quality is really good and it's not cardstock, but it's not super cheap paper either. So that is why I like these books for testing things out. And I'm going to set this down. I'm actually doing a voiceover right now because it was so loud when I recorded this originally. I needed to do a voiceover. So let's just set these aside so we can see them side by side. And I'm just going to be pretty much working with the top row of colors here because we want to just play with these and see what we think on our paper. All right, I'm going to pull this pink. It's a pretty color, pretty pink color. And I noticed you cannot put the cap on top of the cap here because this is a circular cap and the other one is a triangular cap. So you're going to have to hold your cap. So that is a little bit of a downer, but not a discourager. I am just coloring these straight with the brush end. No real rhyme or reason to the coloring, just coloring it like block coloring. And when you're using a brush end, you don't like grind into your paper. You just lightly put down the color because you don't want to cause damage to your paper. And that goes with any brush marker. I'm kind of trying to see if they create lines. So there was a little bit of line on that upper left one, but not too bad. And I want to see if there's a bleed through. There is no bleed through. So that is good for your double-sided books, like your Romantic Country and your Hannah Carlson and like Clara Markova. There's so many wonderful double-sided books out there that people tend not to buy because they love markers. But if you can find a good water-based marker that can do the job, that is a good thing. I'm going to use the fine tip now because sometimes people prefer to use fine liners in coloring for like mandalas and such. Here I'm just coloring straight with the fine liner. And the tip is actually really nice. It is not scratchy and it kind of reminds me of kind of like a soft, I don't know, I know it's ink, but it feels kind of crayon-y like to me. Like something I had back in high school that it's just a really good fine tip. I think it would be great for bullet journaling and note taking and things like that, or you can use them for your mandalas. Here I'm seeing if you can layer on top of one another using the fine and create designs or patterns. Here I'm just doing just a simple little design because this purple color is darker than the pink color. So we'll see how this looks. And I think it actually looks really good. So you could actually do textures in clothing, or you could use these to create fur effects by using the fine liner over the top of the brush marker coloring. Next, let's see what we can do with another thing. Yes, I want to pull out my my slick mat. It's a cutting mat that I got over at the dollar store, and I'm going to take, I think, a darker color this time, and I am going to actually use the brush end and kind of scribble a little bit directly on my mat, on the slick surface of my mat, because I want to see how this behaves in a watercolor form. On the side of the camera where you can't see, I have scribbled it on the mat, and I am pulling a water brush, just my Arteza water brush, and I am going to take some of the color off of my mat, and I want to see if we can watercolor with these. And as you can see, you can watercolor with these. The color is going to be diluted because I'm adding water to the pigment, obviously, but they do go down very well for a watercolor. And if you were going to use these for watercoloring, you actually could use these for a very, very long time. I mean, you may not need another set ever again, because a little bit of pigment is going to go a long way. I'm going to see if we can do a blend with watercolor here. We already tried the purple just straight, but I'm pulling a pink because I want to see if we can do a blend with two different colors using the watercolor method. So I've put down the pink, the light pink, and then I'm graduating into a purple. So you can see the blend in there. And this is like really nice for those that are watercolor artists, but yet do not like the feel of what watercolor feels like after it dries. Sometimes watercolor can feel chalky, but if you use these like a watercolor, they're not going to feel chalky after they're dry because they are a marker. They're not like a traditional watercolor. So I'm going to let those dry for a second. I am really curious if these can blend on their own, just using them straight on the paper. Some markers do that, like the Tombows brush pens. So I want to see if these can do that as well. Here I've taken the pink and I've grabbed the purple. Automatically I can see that it is not blending in with each other. And here I'm going light into dark just to see if I can create a blend. There's not really a blend going on, but I noticed also where I've overlapped them, the paper is kind of peeling, which is not good. So you don't want to overlap while coloring necessarily. Now you can color with it and then color on top of it once it's dry. So that's not an issue. Here I'm just doing another watercolor example of the two colors. I am kind of waiting for these to dry because I am curious if I can color on top of these that I have used the watercolor effect. So I'm just kind of playing around and seeing what we can do and how it works and whatnot. So that one is the layer, that one was a straight color. This was the attempt to blend right down there. And obviously you can see the little spots that I have used to make kind of like the watercolor and the watercolor blend. And I am just going to show you guys. Let's see. I'm just kind of waiting for this to dry. It's taking a minute because it is water, but it didn't bleed through, so we should be okay. I'm going to take my I think I'm going to take my purple here and go over and see if we can go over what I've already colored. I think at this moment I'm talking to my son and telling him to be a little quieter. And then I ended up doing a voice recording over it, so it's all good. So I'm just checking that they are all dry. And I am actually going to try using a pencil over the top because I am curious to see how they react with pencil over the top. I have just a red pencil here. I am shading just this little one. And a lot of times I use marker base on things and then shade with pencil. It seems to perform pretty well. Here I'm using the purple and going right over the top of this pink with the brush tip. And that seemed to perform just fine. If you wanted to shade with these, you would want to put down a base and then let it dry and then go over the top with your second color. So here I'm just going over those dotted lines on where I watercolored, which looks really neat. Kind of gives a different effect. I'm just coloring straight. I actually wanted to see if I could pull the color with a water brush directly on paper. You can, but you need to be really, really careful because if you add too much water, it's going to buckle your paper and it might make your paper get those little balls, those little water balls, paper balls. So you want to be really careful. Here I'm using the water brush to see if I can collect the pigment off of the brush, like the actual marker, and it actually does not work, so don't try that one. By doing that, I added more water to the tip of my marker, so it is going down lighter, as you can see, than what it originally was. But I believe if I just keep coloring with it, it will go back darker and the ink will come back down in it. So I'm just going to color with it just a little bit. And as you can see, it's starting to flow and go darker. So that is good. So I didn't like totally screw up my pen by touching it with a water brush. If you have kids and you don't want them to use alcohol markers, these would be a good marker for them because it's water-based. It does have a brush tip, so you would want to be a little more careful. It's not like a Crayola Super Tip where you can like really scrub into the paper. So yeah. But these have a lovely assortment of colors. I am so happy I have these in my collection. I am going to actually put these in a pencil case that I have purchased just because I perform better through a pencil case versus trays, but they did come in some nice trays. As you can see, we did several different examples of what you could do with these markers. Here I'm just kind of playing around. All in all, I think these would be great for straight colorists because there is many colors. You could use them for color by number. You could just use them in your any of your books, really. And if you are a watercolor artist and you do not like how watercolor feels after your paper dries, you could use these, and there's such a variety of colors. It's unremarkable. And since they do dilute down, you could actually use these as creating a pastel undertone for your coloring pages. Here I am going to actually test out this silver because I am curious to know if it's shiny. And I'm looking at it. It is a little bit, but it is a water-based marker, so it's not going to be as shiny as, say, a Sharpie metallic. So I'm actually pretty pleased with that. That looks like a really pretty elephant skin silvery gray color, which I'm very, very happy with that color choice. Here I'm going to go over this watercolored down piece just to see what it looks like on top of that. And that actually gives a pretty cool effect. You could actually use these in Johanna Basford books on the leaves and things like that, create different shades and tones and shading and all sorts of things. So these are excellent, and I will put a link to these in the description below. I believe there's still a coupon for these on Amazon. I will also put the Pagos website in the description below. And if you have any questions on these or curious about anything about it, just let me know and I will be happy to answer it. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and happy coloring and have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.